Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Ken from Lindsey Williams' buddy that died say we'd have something like currency wars, trade wars, real wars, something like that, or trade wars, currency wars, real wars, whatever. And I've been watching the currencies recently. I've told you a couple of times now, at least, about the euro versus the dollar. The dollar recently has been worth more than the euro. This is insane. And I've long held the position that all the other currencies, all the other countries out there are going to have their crises first, and they'll save America for last. So all of the scared people in those countries flood one last time into the American markets, bonds, everything else, and then we crumble it all. So I'm not shocked to see the euro at par or even below the US dollar, which is insane, but it happened. I'm not shocked. I was at first, but not now. Canadian dollar, 70-something cents to the US dollar. My goodness, how absurd. And now we have some more currency issues. We have the Turkish lira plunges to over 2, what was that, percent, I guess, to new record low yields rise Moody's warning. We have offshore, again, Chinese yuan, falls for second days, bears reload after squeeze. And we have the British pound. Now that's supposed to be one solid baby there. No, not necessarily. Pound, the only thing I think out there that's worth more than the dollar right now in the whole world, the British pound falls to 10-week low as Mrs. May hints at a single market exit. And breaking news as far as the January 16th is concerned, zero hedge, the British pound slides after Theresa May's full speech is leaked, laying out her 12-point plan. So the quick point that I'm making, although I'm going to read this to you, the quick point is that I think when I mentioned that about the currencies, how we're going to be last in line before it hits here, may very well be true. And I think they're going to get all the currencies crashing down before they finally let loose on America. So, again, if I'm a fly on the wall looking at things, when did these currencies start crashing? Very recently. Okay? Which might mean what? In the near future, we may have this little issue to deal with. Which also might mean we may see precious metals spiking in the very near future, along with this other stuff happening, because that's going to be a side effect. Not to mention the lawsuits, the exposing from Deutsche Bank that they've rigged the markets. Their traders are instant messaging back and forth about crushing the silver and gold, markets. But this is important to me because the world's currencies essentially are tumbling. Major currencies are tumbling. And they don't seem to be picking back the other way. They're staying down. So it's not a one-off. It's not a little fluke. They're staying down. And how do we control stuff? How do we make that happen? We have the American markets. Forex market, we can put any amount, any buy order, any sell order, magnitude you could ever imagine. It doesn't matter. We can push the prices anywhere we want. Because like precious metals, you can play little futures types of nonsense, leverage positions with Forex currencies as well. And that's the club's favorite method to do it. Paper pushers. We push the paper, we push it up, down, whatever we want to do with it. So since we have an agenda, the club, since they have an agenda, we're going to hold these down. We don't want them to go back up. This isn't a one-off. This is real because we're trying to accomplish something. Now, what I can't answer is when exactly. I don't know. But I can sit here and see the storyline being placed one after another, one little piece of the puzzle, and it's going like a storyline, a storyboard. So while you might not know how long the next piece of the story is going to be, you know what's coming up next, or at least soon, right? This is while hardly coming as much of a surprise following the weekend's news that Theresa May would call for a clean and hard Brexit, confirmation received moments ago from both the Telegraph, Financial Times, and Bloomberg, that on Tuesday, May will indeed declare that Britain is making a clean break from the EU and will not seek a deal that leaves the country half in or half out. And that has sent the sterling pound lower by some 25 pips, because even though the news is not incremental, as Bloomberg notes, quoting a trader, Algos trade off keyword flagged in speech. Yeah. And the club likes to push things wherever they want to also. Do you really think the algorithms did this? I don't think so. May's office has said she will announce 12 key objectives for the negotiations, which will include gaining full control over immigration. That's a big check mark on that one, Big 10-4. Restoring power over lawmaking to the UK Parliament. That's another Big 10-4. And ending the jurisdiction of the European Court of Justice over British laws. That is a huge 10-4. Keep going. Preserving the union, maintaining workers' rights, and signing major free trade deals. Well, preserving the union, not unions, preserving the union. Maintaining workers' rights and signing major free trade deals. Maybe Trump will, hey, UK, you want to work a little deal? Back and forth? We'll work a little deal? I like you guys. You like me. Theresa May, you're going to probably get in there. Or well, she already is. The other lady, Le Pen, France. We can make some deals together. Brexit's already happened. UKIP leader Nigel Farage. Hey, buddy, but I can see some deals happening. Some more details of her upcoming speech, courtesy of the Telegraph. Bullet points here. In remarks that will delight conservative Eurosceptics, May will pledge that Britain outside the European Union will be a great global trading nation that is respected around the world and strong, confident, and united at home. The Prime Minister will make regaining control of Britain's borders one of the central themes of her Brexit strategy and will also make clear that the rights of UK expats will be protected. She will make clear for the first time that Britain will not seek a watered-down version of Brexit, something that Remain campaigners are still pushing for. The Prime Minister will say that Britain is quitting the single market, and although she will be less explicit on the issue of the customs union, her remarks will make clear that after Brexit, the UK will no longer be a member. She will say that the government has 12 objectives that amount to one big goal: a new, positive, and constructive partnership between Britain and the European Union. But again, not with you. Separately, we can be friends. So, again, offshore Chinese yuan, volatile start to 2017 showed no signs of abating, with the offshore currency tumbling for a second day as China's central bank weakened its fixing by the most since June. The exchange rate fell 0.5% to 6.88 per dollar as of 5:24 p.m., and this was a couple days ago. In Hong Kong, extending a almost 1% drop on Friday, that was the biggest in the year. The offshore yuan is set to post the biggest two-day slump since June today, after moving 0.5% or more in 4 of the 6 trading sessions so far this year, a magnitude it only surpassed 11 times in all of 2016. Another one, Turkey. I just told you the other day, Turkey is saying we will throw your military bases out, U.S. and EU. Quit screwing around, we will throw your bases out, and you along with it. Now, that particular article actually came out after this one, but keep in mind, their president or prime minister, whatever, Erdogan, came out and said, curse you traders, FX trader, Forex traders, for basically manipulating their currency down. And I got news for Mr. Erdogan. It's not the quote-unquote traders. It's the club. And they push the currency of any country where they want to. Take a look at Venezuela for further information. The collapse in the Turkish lira, which has been relentless since last summer's failed coup, has only accelerated in 2017, and especially this morning when the Turkish currency tumbled more than 2% against the dollar. Its single worst day since the July 19th military coup attempt, sliding as low as 3.73, down over 5% so far in 2017, and over 23% in the last 12 months. So again, you could argue, well, little news came out, and it was the news that did it. In the last 12 months, it's down 23%. That's no one-off, like I've been saying. This is a coordinated, planned event by the club. And I'm here to tell you, I still believe, my opinion, like I've always said, but I still believe the United States will be the last one standing. Doesn't mean it's going to hang around. Oh, great, we're fine now. No. We'll be the last one standing, but then we must go down too. Again, the world is 367%, has 367% debt to GDP ratio. You couldn't pay that debt off if all the countries and all the people there's lives depended on it. Why? Because debt is created through borrowing money with interest. And they never print the interest. They print the principal. So if you got to pay interest on it, you need them to print more principal. I need more principal. No problem. And it's going to have interest attached. And it's going to have payments coming back to them. And they know you need more money. And that's why it starts off at no debt, some debt, greatest debt, just keeps ballooning. This is all a symptom of what happens when you have a Federal Reserve with fractional reserve lending, and again, borrowing money from this privately owned entity into existence. You could easily get rid of this, like Bill Still has said in his documentaries, The Secret of Oz. If you have not seen it, it's fantastic. All you have to do is get rid of this whole nonsense of borrowing money into existence. You print the money, you give it to government, however much they need and keep needing, you just give it to them, and they pay all government expenses, including taxes, property, everything is paid for, which means true freedom, true private property becomes exactly that. Privately owned property, you pay nothing on it because the government will be paying all the tax expenses it needs. And as I said before, you have a little recession kicking in, no problem. Government, we're going to open the doors. We're going to hire, throughout the entire government, we're hiring 10% more employees. So you had 10 employees at this office, you now have 11. You had 100 employees at that office, you now have 110. Why does it not matter? Because you're printing money. You don't have anything for unemployment no more, or it goes away because you're going to have a job. You're not going to say, I can't get a job. You're going to find a job in one of these government offices. And then as the economy picks back up, slowly start pushing out some of those employees back into the private sector. Matter of fact, they probably didn't want to work there anyways. It's just a job. I had to take it. I lost my job, It could work so easily, as Bill Still explains. But that would put somebody out of business. The club. They become filthy rich because they earn the interest off of all these central banks in the world. It's the same club that owns them all. Which means there's just a very tiny few select people, families, that own all the wealth in the world practically. Take care.